Welcome back, everyone. We are visiting today with one of our own Valley News Team's Cali Hubbard, talking about her experience with COVID-19. Cali, thank you so much for joining us today. Your experience, a little bit different. Everybody's symptoms are a little bit different, but I found your story fascinating, and people might remember we talked a couple weeks ago about we were going to visit with you, but then we had to put it on hold. You were diagnosed with COVID-19. You had a tough couple of weeks. You thought, okay, you're feeling better. You're going to go back to work. You got tested after the 2 weeks, and what happened?
Yeah, the headaches and the fatigue let up, the shortness of breath let up, and then I wanted to make sure that I was safe, because we're out and about, getting exteriors of buildings, getting shots and whatnot. And so I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any symptoms, just more so from a mental standpoint too. And I went back and I went to get retested. The doctor had recommended that I get retested, and it came back positive. And I didn't really know what to think. I was just kind of in shock by that. And they told me that I had to quarantine again for 14 days.
Okay, so how long is this? We're talking probably a month at this point?
Yeah, an entire month is how long it took for even the symptoms to go away too. At night is when I'd get the headaches, the pounding headaches, and the body aches would come back at night. And then along with that, some nights I would struggle with shortness of breath. I would have a hard time breathing, so I had to call the nurse line from Sanford. And there was a time where they told me that I should come in, and this was closer to the month mark of me having COVID. So it's just kind of crazy how out of the blue the symptoms hit you, and they hit you so hard, and you never know when it's going to come. But I didn't end up going in. I'm like, I'm going to try and push through this.
Okay, and it's obvious you're young, in great shape, so, it's almost kind of surprising that you would get COVID, number one, but we've learned that it's any age can get it. And then talking a little bit about your struggles with the symptoms. Let's talk a little bit more about the treatment and what you did to try to feel better. Was there any treatment?
Yeah, that's the hard thing about it is a lot of it's Tylenol, Dayquil, and NyQuil. So if I didn't set a timer on my phone to take Tylenol every 4 hours of the night, I would wake up in screaming pain. I'd call my mom. All my family lives in Michigan, so that was another thing is I didn't really have mom and dad or someone to take care of me during this time. And so Tylenol was a big thing, Dayquil and NyQuil. I also had a sinus infection on top of having COVID, so that helped clear my sinuses as well. But
we're looking at some pictures that you sent to us. Self-quarantining, for a full month, for 2 weeks. That had to have been hard mentally, emotionally as well. Can we switch directions just a little bit and talk a little bit about, do you know when you think you may have come into contact with someone, or, what has the health department told you about just how contagious COVID-19 is?
Yeah, they told me that that individual that I came into contact with had tested or had started feeling symptoms that Wednesday prior, and then that Easter weekend after that is when I had started feeling those symptoms as well. So they tested positive the Wednesday of the week after, and then I tested positive that Friday after getting a test. But it's just kind of crazy walking around and just even thinking in your head, being in your own house, like I'm the fear. I'm what everyone is scared of right now. And I think that's the most terrifying thing. And you see all these things, happening in the news, and you just feel so alone. And having the health department calling in and checking in on you every single day, seeing what your symptoms are, and then telling you, you need to stay home. Quarantining is so important because these people are in the hospital. They're on respirators right now. And even though, I'm young and healthy, it still really got me, and it still really tore me apart. It stripped me of everything. It stripped me of my job. It stripped me of my health. I had a hard time reading even at times because it gave me such a sense of confusion too.
Kelly, I feel like you are so brave and strong to go ahead and share your story as well. I'm going to kind of ask you this last one question. Why did you decide to share your story?
I think, like I kind of said, just feeling alone in this is something. You see numbers that come out in North Dakota and Minnesota every single day, and they're numbers, but those are people. Those numbers are actually people out there. And I was one of those numbers, the 30 some new cases that came up today. I was, 37. And a lot of people don't have platforms like I do, and they're not able to reach a big crowd. But I've had an overwhelming amount of people come to me and tell me that they're praying for me and that they're on my side and that they've learned from me sharing my experience. And they're going forward, they're going to be more careful going out and about in the public too.
Kelly, thank you so much for sharing your story today, and thank you for continuing to report and share other people's stories as well, because as a journalist as well, I feel like you have a very important job, and I appreciate you, and thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Take care and stay healthy. All right, stay with us. Coming up here on North Dakota Today, we're going to check in with one of our favorite elementary school teachers. She's going to be talking about some things she's learned thanks to COVID-19.